Alright, so I'm going to start yanking this all out of here for the last time. And then start doing all the final installation as I go. So I'll pull all this out, and then I can, all the stuff that's in behind there, I can finish all the last few little details, and then start reinstalling all this. I hate to hate to yank it all out of there. It looks like it's finished, but it's not. So that's what happens. I usually get to this point and I go, oh man, I don't really want to take it out, but I have no choice. Gotta get at it. So I'll pull it all out of here, and then I'll kind of film as I do all the little components in the, as I put it all together. So anyways, more later. Well, hello again. So got this dash all torn apart again. All the bits and pieces are spread out all over my bus. Looks like a disaster area, but it's the way it is. So I have to start basically at the bottom and work my way up. So I have some more trimming to do around this area here. I got to cut over into about here somewhere out. Same thing on the other side for some gauge clearance. As I'd mentioned before, I have to trim or notch out these this here for these are the vents for the heater for the air conditioning. Well, they're actually, I guess they're not just for air conditioning, but they're the dash vents anyways. There's 4 of them there, so I got to drill or use a hole saw and just notch this all out so that the ducting can come up through here. These are, I had to mount this heater at a bit of an angle in here. I don't know if I think I forgot to film all this the first time or when I did it, but I couldn't go in straight in. It couldn't, it's up against the front of the bus here, and if I had it straight up, those vents would have been right in the middle of this area here, so that wouldn't work. So I tilted it so that the dash vents come up the front of this, and the defroster vents are these 2 right back in here, and they are they'll go around the back, so that should work. And I'm going to pull this out. This is for the door for the outside air. I have this little 2-inch stroke air cylinder I'm going to use to control it. Plus I'm going to put a having a brain fart here, gas strut on it, so that when it loses air, the air when you're parked and the air drops, it'll automatically close it, so that if it's cold or whatever, you're not pulling cold air in. And then this here, I have to finish this up, so that this ducting here, so that it pulls the air through that. So those are my tasks for the next little bit. This is the water valve for the heater control. This heater has 5/8 hoses on it, and the bus is 3/4. So I got a couple of reducers coming. They're not here yet. They won't be here till middle of next week, something like that. So yeah, anyways, that's where we're at. So I'm just gonna get started here, and I'll film as we go. This is the heater control panel here. You've seen when I had the dash all together, the outside bezel on. That's the controls in behind there. It's all wired up and working. This is a vintage air. This is designed typically for custom cars and hot rods and that, but works in pretty much anything. So I call this a big hot rod. Anyways, quit messing around and get to it. Alright, so I got the additional defroster vents installed now. The ones in the gauge, or the main dash part, as you've seen before. This is the passenger side piece. So I got two defroster vents in there, and then the ones, like I say, in the other dash panel, and then the other ones there. So there's 4 defroster vents across the front. So that's done. So I'm going to pull this back out of here, and I'm going to start working on that air intake for the heater system. So see how that goes. So I'd noticed this before, but I didn't really pay too much attention to it. But looks like this door never really worked properly anyway. Never sealed. If you can, I don't know if you can see that or not. Well, yeah, there you can. I thought maybe I just didn't have it installed right, but it's where it needs to be, or it can be, and fits fine at the bottom here. But up here, it's almost 3/4 of an inch away from the door. So I don't know if it's really all that critical that it seals, but I figure if I'm at this point and I got to cut and trim anyways, I might as well make it fit. I'm not sure yet whether it's worth modifying this one to fit or just make a new one, but I'll try modifying this one first and see what happens. So hang on for that. Alright, so that wasn't really that big of a deal to trim and make fit better. That fits like it should there now. I'll pull these all out of here and clean them all up and paint them before I am all done and everything. Now I got to make up a panel to go from here back to the wall, or to the front of the bus here, to seal that side off, and then I can mount this duct here in there, and then that'll be the air intake. So, but I think I'm going to wait on that. I can get at this easy enough when the dash is in. So still pretty nasty out there. My brake is outside under a foot of snow, so I think I will wait on making that part of it until after we get a little bit better weather. It's supposed to warm up and start raining here in the next few days, so that's going to make it nasty, but at least it'll be easier to work out there. Won't take long to do, but anyways, I think that's what I'll do. I'll just move on for now, and then do that when we have a little less snow. So I'm installing these dash air vents, and as I'm doing it, I was worried for a bit that I had made a major screw up. You know, these have to come out this side of the dash, and I never really, for whatever reason, never really accounted for the fact that that's 2.5 inch ducting. And so I was, you know, when I cut those holes, I went, oh crap, I don't know if that's going to work. So I figured I better put this dash back in place temporarily to just to double check it, and it actually it will work. It's I have to cut out this little piece of this of the dash here, but when I cover, which so then the ducting would be visible here, but what I'm gonna cover this from here out at an angle past this anyways, so that'll cover it. I don't know if that really shows up in the video, but anyways, you'll see when it's done. But so that will be in behind this panel that I build that goes right down to the floor. So it's all good. Disaster averted. But I do have to trim out or cut out that much of the dash panel here to allow for the ducting to come through, and it looks like I'm going to have to trim the angle back here on that panel to there's my screw hole there, so I'll have to trim the aluminum piece back here to allow the ducting. And so that's why basically fit and double check things as you go, because there's a lot of details and it's easy to miss something. I thought I'd made a major screw up, but looks like it'll be okay. So I got the dash air duct or vent ducting run here now. Had to drill 3-inch holes in that panel for the ducting to go through. That one over there will go to that far passenger side one. Was worried I was going to be short of the tubing, but ended up with probably 1.5 feet left over, so that's good. I have them mounted to the, connected to the heater down there. They're not permanently, like they come with zip ties to tie them permanently to the housing, but I'm not going to put them on yet until I'll do that last or later when it's all in here and I know that I don't have to make any adjustments or pull it out for any reason or whatever. So I'll just leave it like that for now and move on to the defroster ducts. Alright, so I'm just starting to put the dash back together here. I got it all permanently secured, except for along the back here. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do there yet, but it's pretty solid, but it does still move, so I need to do something back there. Anyways, I'll worry about that before the other gauges won't be here till tomorrow, so I'm not going to put that center panel in until I have them, the gauge panel, until I have them. But other than that, everything's all in. I got all the ducting run to where it needs to go. Again, the other defroster ducts are in that order that the gauges are in, so I won't be able to put the final ones in until they show up, but I can get in here and install them without once with the dash and everything in place. So just going to start doing some wiring here. These are the little switches I have, and they have a little LED ring around them that you can wire up in different configurations. You can have them one color when they're off, another color when they're on, or whatever. I'm just gonna wire them to the to the dash lights, so when I turn the dash lights on, they come on. But we're going to worry about different colors, but they just have this little plug on them here, and then you wire your switch to, I have to look up the wiring diagram to see what it is, but you just wire the switch up to whatever wires it is, and then whatever color you want the lights to be, you wire either the blue, the yellow, the green. I think that's it. blue, yellow, or green can be, or you know, the light color you want. Maybe there's a red too. I'm not sure. Anyways, I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna wire up the blue for the all my dash lights are all going to be blue. I got the heater control came with white LEDs, and I'm going to. I got some blue ones to replace it with, so they'll all the dash lights and the gauge lights and everything will all be blue. So. Anyways, I'm going to get started. Got a bit of a headache today, so I'm not feeling all that great, but I will do a little bit of wiring here and film a little bit as I go. Alright, and 2 or 3 hours later, I have all the switches that I can wire up done so far. So there's headlights, taillights, and when the taillights come on, those are the blue LEDs that those lights will be. This isn't the right switch, so I didn't wire that one up. That's going to be a push button for marker light interrupt. Marker lights, and then anyways, some of them are wired, most of them are wired, but not all of them. Jake brake, high idle, that's going to be backup lights, landing lights, driving lights I think, which I don't even have yet, and I don't remember what that one is. Oh, high idle, I think. I don't know. I need to get those little labels on there so I can remember what the heck they're all for. Anyways, my brain hurts, so that's it for tonight. Okay, so I got my order from Summit Racing. Tack, Speedo, and boost or manifold pressure gauge are here now, so I'll install those along with the other air pressure gauge, which is down. I just have to go grab it down from down below. I still haven't ordered these 2 gauges yet. Those are fuel. That'll be a fuel pressure gauge, and that will be a fuel filter restriction gauge. So it's the same as this one, just a vacuum gauge. So I'll order those when I get the opportunity. Have to lick my wounds for a little bit. Stuff gets expensive. Anyways, and I have also the other defrost ducts are here, so I can install those, and the steering shaft. And I talked about that a little bit, and I'll get into that more when I actually do it. Well, hang on a second, and I guess I might as well talk a little bit about this tack. It's a programmable diesel tack, Stuart Warner, like all the rest of the gauges, and it has dip switches on the back here, and you set it uses a magnetic pickup on the flywheel teeth, so which is already installed. It's already down in there. The old tack worked that way as well. So you take the engine that you have, and you have to figure out what the flywheel teeth are. And this one, mine is 118. It's a Detroit diesel, so it's 118 teeth. And then you go to this chart here, find your tooth count, and program the switches according to that. And you can fine tune it if you have to, one tooth at a time, up or down, if it's not reading quite right. So I'll check the idle and governed RPM when it's all installed, and check to see how accurate it is, whether it's accurate or it needs to be adjusted up or down a little bit. Anyways, so that's how that works. So I'm going to go ahead and install these gauges here now and go from there. All right, and this is the speedometer. And the way it works is it goes off pulses per mile, which that Dakota Digital, here, I'll grab that. This Dakota Digital GPS unit takes GPS information and converts that into pulses per mile. And then the speedo will be wired to speed 1 there, and then it will detect those pulses per mile. And what you do is you take and put the thing into calibration mode with this little button. There's a whole sequence, I won't go into the whole thing, but basically you start the calibration with the button, and then you drive the vehicle exactly 1 mile. So a measured mile, and then you push the button again and it's calibrated. So you don't have to run at speed or anything. It doesn't matter how fast you're going, nothing like that. You just have to drive 1 mile, and it's counting the pulses that it's, you know, during that mile. Then you hit the calibration button again, and it and then it's calibrated for speed. You know, and you can always what I'm going to do is mount this little button down underneath here somewhere, and then you know, for whatever reason, you can always check it when you're traveling. You know, there's those speedometer test sections on the highway here and there, and you can, you know, check, make sure it's accurate. You can use your you could use your phone, you know, a separate GPS, like your navigation. It usually has it has speed on it. I don't know if it does mile. Anyways, whatever. You can, there are various ways you can check it and make sure it's right, kind of thing, and recalibrate if you need to. So I'm gonna go install that now. And I guess another thing I should mention is the bus. Originally, it uses little bolts and a magnetic pickup on the left front wheel, and but it only has 4. So you could drill the whole, you know, drill the brake drum and install more bolts to give you a higher pulse count. I think it said in the instruction this is 3,000 to 100,000 it will accept, and 4 on a, you know, 4 sensors or 4 magnetic points on a wheel aren't enough. So it's under 3,000 a mile. So that's why I decided to go with that GPS unit. Plus it'll drive the cruise control as well. So that's why I didn't use the original bus magnetic pickup, in case anybody was wondering. And unfortunately, Stuart Warner does not make a boost or manifold pressure gauge in this series. They make a vacuum boost gauge, but I don't need a vacuum gauge here. So they make this series, they make a vacuum boost for you know, for gas engines, but they don't make a strictly a 30 psi pressure gauge in this series. So I had to get a VDO one, that was the closest match I could get. So gonna have to do. I think it'll be fine. Too bad, you know, it doesn't match the rest of them, but it is what it is. So this all looks like a bit of a rat's nest in here right now. But all these other wires that I don't need for all these different color LEDs, and once I know, so this wire here is these switches have a normally open and a normally closed. So, you know, I'm using the normally open on all these switches, but they do have a normally closed, and I don't want to cut them off yet because there are a couple that I might be able to, like my marker light interrupt. I'll have to mess around with it and see if I can make that work as a, anyways, I might use that. So I don't want to cut them off yet. All the other LED color wires, they are, you know, I won't need those, so I can cut them off. But, you know, anyways, that'll all clean this all up. It looks like a bit of a rat's nest right now. And what else was I going to mention? Oh, well, I'm trying to, I got all the defroster vents in now, so I'm just running the tubing for to the defrosters. And this piece here is in the way, so I'm just going to take a saw and cut that out of there. Doesn't need to be in here anyways. That's just where it ended up ending at, and I didn't really know, so I'll just cut that out of there, and then that'll give me a little more room here. Alright, so we're a few days later here. Been busy moving mom and dad. Moved them into an assisted living facility. Dad's 83 now and starting to get a little bit of dementia. Mom's 82 and she's doing better, but anyways, we moved them out of their trailer and into a assisted living. They don't have to do any cooking or cleaning or anything like that, so it was their idea, so that's good. Anyways, so I haven't got a heck of a lot done here, but I do have at least on the driver's side here, all the defroster lines hooked up. I don't know how well this shows up here. I'm going to see if I can turn the flash on. There we go. I don't know if that's any better or not. Might just glare, but let's see here. Anyways, there's one of the defroster vents there up in that's the one up in the dash. This is the one over here. It goes onto the left side of the windshield, and then I've got to run over to this here for now, and I'm going to run up in here and so I can use this factory defroster here. And I think I'm going to do, obviously there isn't one of these on the other side, but I do have more of these vents like that for the air conditioner. So I think I'll put one over there on that side when I build the armrests over there. So I'll put a cup holder, a USB charging port, and a defroster vent onto that windshield, or that side window. Might be a little bit of overkill for the defrosters, because hopefully a guy doesn't ever have to drive it in that kind of weather, but better to be safe than sorry, and it's easy enough to do at this point. Would suck later on to want to do it and not be able to, or at least it'd be a lot more work anyways. So anyhow, that's where I'm at. Just about ready to put the gauge cluster back in here. I think I'm going to take, I think maybe I mentioned it before, but I think I'm going to take the steering column out of here, or at least the steering wheel. No, I think I got to take the steering column out so I can lay this down and wire. I'm going to give you more room to wire it. So anyways, that's where we're at for now. I'll video some more when I got more to show. So I've been doing some wiring. Got everything that I can, like all the common stuff wired. and the only thing that's left, I've gone as far as I can just out here on the table here. Now I need to put it into the dash and connect all the sender wires for all the different gauges. I got all the power, ground, and light bulb, dash light, gauge lights wired, and all down to 3 common connections here. That's that'll be ignition, power, that's ground, and that's the lights. So when I put it in the dash now, of course I got to hook up the ground is connected for the signal light indicators, but I have to hook that to the lead, the high beam indicator, that wire's there, and the other signal light, and the speedometer, the signal line, and same thing with the tack. So that all has to be done while it's in the dash, but it's a lot easier to do it, the rest of it, all out on the table here where I got lots of room. And this is just the way I like to do it. There's 1,000 different ways of doing it, but I just run little jumper wires between each of the common terminals. These are all grounds, and daisy chain them all together till we get to here. So then I only have to make one connection in the when I get the dash installed, for as much as I can. Of course, these are all the indicator lights here in the center, and they'll all have to be, some of them are just going to get they'll get power, and the sensors are just a ground, and some are not. So I can't do any wiring on those until I'll have to do each one of those independently. And I don't have any wires for in that wiring harness for the 3 temperature senders or oil temperature senders for the transmission, engine, and rear end. That's these 3 gauges here. So I have to run wires for all 3 of these gauges down to by the fuse box there, and then they'll go back to the back of the bus. And the 4, well, I'm actually going to have 6 mechanical gauges here, and I have to run, some of them are air pressure gauges, and some are vacuum gauges for filter restriction, that sort of thing. So I need to run 4 1/4-inch nylon lines right to the back of the bus for 4 of the gauges. So that'll be fun, but I'll do that in the spring when it's the weather's a little nicer. It's funny, it's a week ago it was minus 28, and now it's 5 degrees above freezing and raining. Go figure. It's a week, difference of a week. Anyways, that's where I'm at for now. And then I took all these, common wires, and as I connect them together, zip tied them all to together and to the gauge mounts, so that everything's secure. Nothing will really vibrate, and the keeps them all nicely separated and stuff. It looks like a bit of a rat's nest, but it is fairly organized if you can imagine that. Here's an example here where that's the ground wire, that's power wire, and then I just got a zip tie here just holding those wires so they don't move. And yeah, anyways, that's where we're at for now. I think I'm ready to put it in the dash and then continue wiring in there. So I'll do that next. Alright, so I've been wiring like a fool. Got everything, not everything is wired up yet. The CB radio is wired. The heater, well, I had the heater wired before, so that's done. The head unit needs to be wired yet, and I have to run these are the wires for the backup camera, so I got to run them down that post there, as well as the CB radio antenna and the AM/FM radio antenna, plus probably a bazillion other wires, but haven't got to that point yet. I have well, I had the lights wired up, the switches wired up before, but I now have the gauges wired, as many as I can. I don't have some of the signal wires connected yet, but the I'll just turn on. So I have the dash lights are wired. They're all blue, along with all the switches, and I put blue LED. It comes with clear LEDs. I may have mentioned that before, but I put blue ones in there. They're not wired yet, but they will soon. So yeah, and I have the, let's see, turn the key on here. Oh, and I have all the vents hooked up now. Defroster vents, dash, what will be one day air conditioning vents. They're all hooked up and blowing air. That's on low, medium, high. Blows pretty good. Turn that off. The signal light indicators are working. And they are pretty bright, but they're signal light indicators, so I'm not too worried about that because they're not on that often. But I am a little bit concerned about, so the headlights, when I put the high beam indicator on, I don't know how bright it is on camera, but it's bright enough, you know, that if it's on and you're driving, I'm sure it's going to be irritating. It's just too bright. So I have the same issue in the other bus when I did the dash on it, and what I ended up doing is putting a resistor in the power wire to that and cut the voltage down about at least half. I don't remember what it was exactly, but I cut it down so that it was, you know, it was still on, but it wasn't irritatingly bright. The voltmeters are wired up and working, as you can see. The oil pressure, water temperature, I don't know, there's a bunch of these gauges that are wired up now, but I can't remember all of them. And I'll just, I guess, take a couple of minutes and go over my logic of the gauge positioning. Not that it really matters, but so these two gauges here, this is your boost pressure and air restriction gauge, so that's the intake air, so those gauges are together. This is the fuel system, so that will be another vacuum gauge for fuel filter restriction. This will be a fuel pressure gauge, and this is your fuel level gauge. Over on this side here we have that's an air application gauge, so you know how much brake application you're applying when you step on the brakes. And then this will be the main reservoir air pressure gauge. I have a dual gauge for that. So one will be for the main air system, and the second, and it's all in one gauge. There's two separate needles, and the other one is the the parking brake air system. So that is in one area as well, and then these three are the that'll be the engine, transmission, and differential oil temperatures, and then your oil pressure and water temperature are directly in front of you, so you can watch them all the time. And then the 2-volt meters are they're not that important, so they are, one on each side there, 12 and 24 volt systems. And you can, from where I'm sitting, trying to get basically at eye level, you can see the tach and speedo pretty good. And all the indicator lights here are all right in front of you, so they're easy to see as well. So anyways, that was my logic in positioning all the gauges, and so I will film a little more of this as I get a little further. So oh, hang on a second here. Turn this down where somebody has a hissy fit. Alright, so I thought it'd be time to do a little bit of a excuse me, progress update here. It's been a few days, week or so, can't remember. We've had a lot going on around here, so I haven't been able to do any videoing, but I did get some so this panel here is all wired up and working. The backup cameras, of course, they still need to be mounted outside, but they're working at this end. Radios are working. I think on the last update that is working. I have the switch mounted for the inside-outside air there now, and this is, I don't know if it'll show up here or not. Probably not. Yeah. Anyways, the lights and everything are working in the heater controls. I have I mounted the air pressure gauge, and you have the main air supply connected. I'm just going to this afternoon try and connect the rest of them, and I have the bus running right now. TAC is working, and operational. I can't remember. I may have filmed this part of it already. I can't remember. But anyways, speedometer is ready to be calibrated. I just have to be able to drive it and calibrate it. GPS module I have mounted over here, and it's all working and everything. I tried to mount the antenna. It says it'll pick up through fiberglass, but when I was going to put it up there in the fiberglass cap, but it just didn't work. So I don't like that. So I'm just have it mounted here on the dash, just inside the windshield, and I think that'll be all right. Seems to be stays connected to the GPS all the time, so that should be fine. I have as many of the electric gauges, I think I mentioned that before, that as I can. They're all wired up here. I just have to hook up the sensors. I have all the senders now. So anyways, if I've filmed this part of it before, I apologize. I can't remember. I've had a little bit of issues with mom and dad getting older, and so we've had to deal with that, and so things have been a little bit stressful around here, so I can't remember whether I've filmed any of this or not. But anyway, yeah, that's about it. I will film a little bit more as I get a little farther along here. Okay, so here was a little bit more of an update. I'm just continuing to work away at wiring and wiring these gauges up and plumbing them. Not done yet, but just working away as it at it as I have time. The last 2 gauges have shown up and I've got them installed. And the lights installed, but nothing else. I haven't got them plumbed yet. So this is going to be a fuel filter restriction gauge, and that will be a fuel pressure gauge. And I have to run line to the back of the bus to plumb those, because they're mechanical gauges, not electrical. So these 4 gauges have to run line to the right to the back of the bus to plumb. So excuse me, haven't got that done yet. I am working on basically on 3 different projects at the same time. So I've got the dash and the wiring and that stuff to do. I've got the steering I'm working on, as well as the windshield wipers. So I'm taking a video of each of these as I'm doing them, but I think I'll post them as 3 different, like from here on out anyways, post them as 3 different videos. I'll go into a little more depth than I have been for the windshield wipers, as well as the steering. This might be something that somebody else will, possibly be interested in doing. So I'll kind of. So what I'm going to do is like I say, I've been taking video little bits and pieces. But if somebody wanted to put a set of these windshield wipers in, I'd have to, rather than fumbling through all this different. If I put this as one video, I'll separate it out and just do the stuff that pertains to the wipers, as well as do the same thing for the steering. So yeah, it's starting to warm up outside, so I'm getting some marker lights wired. I've got the lights on across the front of the bumper, the 13 lights across there, they're all wired. I'm just doing this as bits and pieces, parts come in, senders and all that kind of stuff. So and when it's getting warmer, so eventually I'll be able to take it for a test drive and test out the cooling system. And I'll put the camera in the window and video that as well when I get to that. So that'll be fun. Anyway, yeah. So I'm working on the steering a little bit right now. So I'll film a different or separate segment for that, and do that as a separate video. All right, so except for a few minor details, the dash is, for all intents and purposes, done. There's a couple of the gauges that aren't wired up yet, and a few of the switches, that kind of thing, backup lights and whatnot that I don't even have yet. So but radios all work. Backup cameras, again, I got to mount those cameras outside. Actually, they're just at the back of the bus, but everything's working. I just have to mount them on the outside, make some mounts and mount them outside, and then that'll be done. So I still have to do this cover and the air cylinder and that for the heater. The heater control, inside outside air. I've got all the parts and pieces, I just have to have the time to do it, so I'll do that in the next little bit. But I'll put this all together and upload this, and we'll call the dash, for all intents and purposes, done. Everything's working, and I got to make up a cover over the all the wires in the center of the windshield there. I think I'll do the same thing, just make it out of aluminum and brush it and everything, finish it the same as the dash. Same as the inserts that I'm going to put in there. You know, that kind of stuff's not done yet, but for all intents and purposes, all the major bits and pieces are done. I guess in the next little bit, when it warms up a little bit more, I'll take it for a drive, test out the cooling system, and you know, and steering and gauges and all that kind of stuff, and make sure everything works. But I'll wait for, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 weeks until it warms up a little bit more. It's getting fairly warm, but it's not enough to, you know, that it would be a good test for the cooling system yet. So I'll wait until it's a little bit warmer before I do that. Anyways, I guess I'll go ahead and upload this and put it all together and post it so you guys can watch it. We'll be in the next one.